part, which is the cross-pollination between the hacker world and the academic world.
That's a really good way to put it. I'm going to talk about yoga pants. Yoga pants is in the name because it was during fall semester, so the sundresses were not there, so we had to work with something. So, welcome everyone. I'm Zach Allen. This is Chris, and we're going to talk about the cross-pollination of academia and security. Just a little background before we start. Our company, ZeroFox, we were founded on solving an issue, a new issue in cybersecurity, and that's finding bad guys on social media. Whether you're getting your grandma hacked and she's sending you a message on Facebook saying, hey, click on this stuff, or a CSO or a CEO on LinkedIn just getting really weird connections with very well-endowed women, all right? We want to find that. We want to help people find that, and we want to make sure that we can take it over. So what we did is we had a semester-long project with Johns Hopkins University. Avi couldn't be here this morning, but he provided his class for us in the fall. It was an introductory class to security. So these aren't security students at all. And we really wanted to explore the ideas that these students could have and bring to the table, especially without a security background, and attack it from different angles.
So to start a little bit, when we think about security, and really some of the areas where we focus on is when you look at an organization, an individual, your home network, whatever, you're building this nice big wall around everything, and you have all these different things, your email security, your web filters, all these different things to watch that bad guys can't get in, and if something is inside your walls, watching how it travels out. It's how we've always kind of thought about security, how we've thought about protecting ourselves, and that's been the approach, the traditional approach, and it's a billion-dollar industry. That's what we think about when we talk about computer security. So this paradigm shifted, and the reason is things have moved outside our walls. The increase of people working and doing things on social media has escalated. That's where breaking news comes from today. That's what people are watching. It's why the DoD allows people to access social media now, because that's where the news comes from. It's also a whole generation now is really focused on, this is their main form of communication. Interaction on social has surpassed email, depending on which study you read, 5-10 years ago, that more people are interacting this way. A whole generation now of college students may not even have an email address, but have 5-10 different social accounts. And as a security professional, I can't go lock down my Facebook server to make sure my people aren't doing something bad because I don't have that in my data center. Facebook has that. I don't have control over that. But the problem is that's where my people are, and that's where they're interacting, and that's where they're doing things.
So in order to really go after the idea of security around social media, so Facebook owns the Facebook servers, like Chris said. We wanted to go and explore a partnership with Hopkins. They have a class. Avi wanted us to run the project, probably because he didn't want to run the project. He just wanted to take some of the credit for it. Professors. Yeah. Exactly. So it really presented an opportunity for us to get really, really good information from these students and really go after their creativity and really just kind of foster that idea of, hey, here's your traditional academia that, as you know it, come back into security, cross over, and do things like provide us with some data, right? We want data. We're a startup. We love that validation. We love that data, and we want to take and create a project where they can go out and test these boundaries, and we can bring it back in to shift gears. Also, deep dive. A lot of the things that we've seen on social media, whether it's botnets sending out spam links, whether it's an owned account that's sending out a link to a pharmacy page that is illegal, we want them to explore that more. We want them to really deep dive into these different attack strategies and see what they can come up with. Lastly is diligence. We have a product and we wanted them to test it. We really wanted them to push the boundaries of it and give us good feedback on that. So in order to do this, a lot of traditional competitions, like Ghost in the Shell Code here at ShmooCon or the DEF CON CTF, CISA, NCCDC, there's competition. And if you want creativity to really come out from students, have them compete. We had them compete for grades. We had them compete against each other and for a couple Amazon gift cards. Their interest went way up after we announced that. So how can we do this? All of these are CTF-based or blue team-based. They're a mix of both. But we really wanted them to challenge the idea of attack on social media, also defense. So we gave them objectives for both. They need to construct plans for each objective. They need to record everything. They need to go out and write reports. They need to log. And it's a CS class, they had to code. We needed them to go out and use the knowledge and research that is out there today for phishing attacks on social media, insider threat, the CENTCOM Twitter attack that happened last week. There's a talk a couple years ago about how someone ran a whole pen test through LinkedIn and got a company laptop out of it. We want them to go out there and find those things and come up with those different strategies to use during this project. Lastly, we want them to consider detectability and traceability. So social media is very public. You go and you post something on Twitter, people see it. Facebook and the other networks, they have their different privacy models, but once it's out there, it's out there. So we wanted them to consider, hey, once you launch an attack out there, let's just say you're on Red Team and you want to go out and you want to get someone to click on something bad like an exploit kit. How can you track that that person clicked on it, and then how can you erase it to remove attribution? Okay. How's that? Okay, one sec. Lame. I think it's hack the planet, but okay. I have no idea. No, it's totally part of the presentation, guys. Totally. I think my laptop just shit itself. All right, bring the fireball up. Let's do this. All right. You want to go with that? Switch. Yeah. Okay, it's done for. I'm kind of afraid what you see now. I think I closed out of everything. What are we at? Do you see? Oh my goodness. What are you doing now? It's still in the half thing. Hey, I'm logged back in. You want to try it? Oh, man.
Turn it off.
Do you have a license for that?
Turn it off.
Yeah, seriously, this is like the worst advertisement for Apple now.
They do that on their own, though.
It's true. Here's the problem. I don't have a mouse. I don't see it. That's the issue. Ah, I got it. This is the best conference to have something go down technologically. I'm gonna restart. Yeah, it completely locked up again. So how's everyone this morning? Maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
Always check the dongle.
You gotta check your dongles. Yeah, we could just start talking.
Turn the display right from the floor.
The yoga pants. Yes.
The yoga pants are coming, I promise. We have many slides. Now I have like... I'm gonna try one more time.
Look, there's unrest.
There is. You know, RIT education. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Where were we? Red team, blue team. Red team, blue team. Slow down, don't freeze it again.
This looks familiar, right? Okay. That's you.
Okay, so as we went ahead and aligned with this project and how we want the red team, blue team, we could have looked at different companies, different places for the attack, but instead we wanted the students to focus on universities. And there's a couple reasons why. One, universities have a really unique problem, is they have a very public forum that they need students to be able to access and do things. They also have a very private side. They're doing unique research, things, grades that they need to be locked down and not have shared out in the world. And they also have a lot of alumni that want to correspond, be involved, and be back and forth within the college. So unlike a company that can just lock down everything and just say, forget it, we're not doing that, this really gave them an area. So we went out and we kind of grabbed a group of universities that were pretty diverse. Ones that were known for sports or athletics, ones that were known for alumni, ones that were making headlines for various different things, ones that were known for more of their academia and things like that as well. So what we did is we wanted them to go out and figure out how would you attack a university. If you were going to try to go in through social media and get a link or something to spread out there, how would you do that? So whether it's the deans at the school, famous alumni that could be out there. Hangouts. So where are the students going? The local bars, the local places to be. What if it's just student life? Things that students are involved in, hangouts, the library, homework help, different places like that. The Glee Club, different things that students are going to be involved in doing things with, or the athletics and sports. So are they known for the different things around their basketball team, football team, et cetera, as this was going on during the fall? And then, of course, the ladies on the campus. You know, what are going to be the social things that could be involved, the pretty girls or the pretty fellows that people want to talk to and see and meet? So then we switched to defense, and as you see, it's the same thing. If you're going to go out and defend a university, you're going to look to defend the exact same things as well. And part of the defensive strategy is we let them use our platform to log in and then highlight these things that they went ahead and investigated and found to say, these are the things I want to protect, so they could then see what we were returning to them, but then also look to supplement that as well. To say, okay, the platform found this, but we found other attacks out there, and here's how we can do that as well. So how did we do this? How did we say, go out and attack social media and have results, have some code and how to bring that to us? So each team was given a unique link, and they could go ahead and shorten it, do whatever they need to do with that link. But their goal was to get people to click it. So they would go out to social media and go ahead and post it out there in whatever way they felt to try to get the most clicks from that different university. And then we would then take those results and see who clicked. So being able to take a look at who did it, where they click from, were they part of that campus, that IP range there, how many clicks did they get for their different attacks. So what sort of link did we get them? Well, when they clicked on it, they would get a 404 page. Nothing malicious. We want to be very benign. We didn't actually want to launch malware and actually take down universities or make headlines that way. But what the page did was recorded who actually clicked. And what this represents is there's script running on this page. You get a 404, but there's script running. And we're just going to say, okay, here's who came and who clicked. If we wanted to do something malicious, and if we were the bad guy and we wanted to run bad script, they've bit the hook. You know, we have them. But in this case, again, we didn't want to do something bad, but we want to represent, if we were bad, this is how successful something like this could be.
So as Chris was talking about, we really wanted to go out and find the types of clicks and demographics behind them. We wanted to see what browsers you were looking at, if you were coming from that university IP range. And we wanted to collect all of this data and just measure that effectiveness and see how good social media can be when people are launching these attacks. So what you see here is a snapshot of a very 2-week window during an attack phase of one of the students. So it's 1,500 clicks, and you see on the heat map mostly highlighted in America. But as you can see, in the light blue, it was all over the place. We got stuff from Australia, South America, Middle East. People were paying attention to these universities. So even when we tried to constrain it down to that physical campus, we still got clicks from all over the world. And we told them too, this is an emulated attack page, but just think of these clicks as your bot. And once you get a new bot, you add it to your botnet, and this person got 1,500 of them. And then they can go in that next step. Go sell the botnet, go rent it out to somebody. In terms of OSs, I think something's really interesting in terms of looking at the different types of people that clicked on this, only in the sense of what we were focusing on. Even though we're looking at universities where people are using MacBooks, where people were on their iPhones, Windows still won. We also had iOS and Android. They're right below Mac. What's interesting, for this attack demographic here, if you add up all the mobile clicks here, it was about 21% of their total click traffic. The total number of people on social media that use their phone throughout the world is around 21%. So it's really good validation for us that, hey, we're getting exactly the data that we wanted to get, and holy crap, this is actually working. Also, we got a couple Xboxes. So in terms of device brand and browser family, I mean, just it goes to show the type of people that are using it and the type of people that are clicking on the links. Chrome, Firefox, Safari, your college students. If we were going after the defense industry or we're going after private industry, you might see more Windows in there, or Internet Explorer. That's not the case. We even got 8 people on Opera and 2 people on NetFront. Does anyone know what NetFront is? Yeah.
It's a Japanese brand.
This is my favorite one. So this is the visits per local time for this student, and it's on the server time. So we hosted it on the East Coast. Now, social media is very temporal. Things turn into a craze overnight or a trend overnight. You tweet out a link, people will click on that link immediately, and then the feed goes down. So as you can see, this student waited early in the morning and late at night to do their homework. So now we're going to go a little bit into some of the tasks and findings. And one of the key requirements for this project was the students needed to code, and they needed to automate these attacks and defensive strategies. So what better way than build a botnet? I gave a presentation at B-Sides Rochester that kind of showed how you would set up a Twitter botnet. They have APIs, or you can go and do something like through a headless browser like Selenium. So they went out and they explored how to build it. They went out and they looked at Google. They went and saw different ways they can go and buy one on darknet, and they wanted to see what would be the best approach for them. So this is actually right here a snapshot of one of the students on our IRC channel doing their command and control. So it was kind of cool because they forked my code, which is also pretty cool, and they actually used it. They got on these IRC servers that we gave them, and then we just saw all these channels and all of these people sending out these links. And as you can see here, Go Heal's embarrassing scandal at UNC. There's a bit.ly shorten linked in there, and that went to their attack page. We also had some students find and ask about whether or not it'd be okay to go out and download a botnet off leaked forums. We pretty much told them, hey, do it at your own risk, but they're out there. You go on leakforums.org, you go check out the other websites like that. There's Instagram botnets, there's Twitter botnets, anything you can think of, people built it. So some of our favorite ones, actually, include the Master of Puppets. This team is the team that actually won. They had a pretty sweet Java command line botnet for Facebook and Twitter, and some pretty sweet ASCII art, too. So you go and you look at some of the selections here and some of the options. Hey, do you want to do a manual Twitter bot control or an automatic one? They actually set it so they can do a targeted attack if they wanted to specify one Twitter profile, or just take 30 of them and just start tweeting at one link or one hashtag.
Question.
Yes?
So, I hate to be the buzzkill, but how did you get large-scale TOS violations through the Institutional Review Board in Hopkins? And if you didn't, under what exemption?
We worked really closely with Avi. He would be much better to answer that question, but we made sure that we covered all of our tracks, and he gave it the green light, and he checked with his bosses.
And part of that too is within the social networks, we followed all the terms of services and everything within there to make sure we're maintaining what was happening on the, how far a student could go under the terms and conditions of those social networks as well.
I mean, botnets would violate the Twitter terms of service.
The use of a botnet, but the ability to tweet and go out there, which are used by Twitter and advertisements on Twitter today. So Twitter authorizes advertisers to use botnets to spread word.
It really gets into wording. So we say botnet, but they're just building Twitter applications. And they weren't doing anything malicious. They weren't spamming anybody or trying to make money off of this. They're just getting people to click on a link so we can record it.
And the other kind of variable on there was it was an academic project. So Yep.
So another one, we had some code written in C#. We had one brave soul out there that actually made something and made a GUI, and he had his Facebook and his Twitter bots go through this. You can tweet something out, post on somebody's wall, friend somebody, retweet somebody. He had it all set up.
So now we'll start getting into some of the fun stuff. Some of the things that we found from the students and from a handful of different groups, some of the neat things that they were able to go out there and accomplish out there, and really to replicate a lot of what's going on out there and how successful some of these things. So we'll start with a group that was tasked with attacking the University of Michigan, and kind of what's the point? So what's the point of going to college? You want to get a degree, you want to learn so you can go get a job. So this student did that. They went ahead and contacted University of Michigan, said they lost their email, and were assigned a University of Michigan email address. That easy. From there, they were then given access to all of the closed University of Michigan pages out on the Facebook. From there, they went ahead and created this idea of a job site. Hey, Michigan students, please submit your resumes, everything here to this site. Within this site, they had a hidden iframe, which then did the redirect to record the clicks. So setting up here and this very simple site to have out there and say, come click here, an iframe on this page that then would record that somebody visited. And it was extremely successful. The amount of clicks, the amount of correspondence, the amount of people sending resumes, following up, what's going on. This link was actually resent out by other people within Michigan. Hey students, make sure you don't miss your opportunity to go and get your resume posted on this site. To the point that even until the student finally shut down his email address, he was still getting emails over and over after he had shut down the site because people were still trying to go out, find jobs, and click on it. So kind of dangling that carrot of, hey, here's a place that can help you find a job at the University of Michigan. Right there, you know, what was his final count on? 972
clicks total and a 12.5% submission rate for resumes.
And then the time on page was also very high. So they weren't just going here and then leaving. They were coming here, spending time here, filling it out, corresponding back.
Did he resell the domain?
He did not.
So the next one is my favorite, stoking the fire. One of the students, they were attacking Twitter, and they're attacking Drexel specifically. They made a profile and they made a person called the Twitter Comedian, up-and-coming comedian in Philadelphia. And they wanted people to click on his link, sign up for jokes on Google Drive, and then that went to his attack URL. But he's having a little bit of an issue with it. It was a combination of what he thought was his strategy as well as the network. So he decided to go after another one, Tinder. So, for people that don't know what Tinder is. Oh, really? What is Tinder? Well, Chaim, let me tell you. Tinder is a social media app. You log in, you set a profile picture, you connect with people in the same geographic area as you. And you connect with people for a very specific purpose, to hook up with them. So what he wanted to do was take advantage of this idea of matching up with people and then trying to hook up with them with his Twitter comedian, talk about his jokes, and see if he can get people to click on the URL. Still didn't work. So he went and he asked his friend, hey, can I use your picture? I'm doing this class project. Told her everything, but I'm going to be using your picture on Tinder. So he did. So this is Sarah. Sarah got onto Tinder, started matching up with people, and he started sending out his attack link. And he got some gold in terms of some of the text messages. Are you one of those guys who always swipe right? So swiping right, swiping left on Tinder. If you swipe right, you want to hook up with that person. If they also swipe right, you get connected. So he had a Node.js wrapper that would hit the Tinder APIs anytime he got matched with somebody. After that, he would send them a message. Are you one of those guys who always swipe right? He then waited 20 minutes and then sent out his attack link saying, hey, I don't really use Tinder, but find me on Facebook. Click on this link. And he got a 75% click rate. So when you think of your traditional spam or malware campaigns and the click rates through that, right? You know, it's less than 1% maybe, and how many emails you send out? All he had to do was, throw up a little Node.js wrapper and just go to town. So Jared has standards. So I'm just going to let that one speak for itself. Michael, he couldn't really find her. Now, here's something that's really interesting. He spelled the name wrong to go and find her on Facebook to his fake Facebook profile. Specifically, so when they couldn't find him, they would come back to the Tinder app and then click on the link. Lastly, Derek. He's not going to lie. He swipes around 70% of the time. And he also gave out his Facebook. So this just shows another interesting vector of pulling personally identifiable information, getting phone numbers, getting addresses, and using sex to really go after people and add them to your malware botnet.
So the hashtag yoga pants. This is,
We're here. We're here, everyone.
right here was, one of the students really wanted to take advantage of the idea that people like the pretty faces. So he used Google image search, cute girl, and created some Facebook profiles to see what sort of traction he could get with that. And he set them up at the various university he was looking to attack and tried to infiltrate.
I thought you said that you followed all the terms of service.
What, pretty girls?
No, fake Facebook.
Under academia research, and providing this output as well over to the social networks. So they are aware of this report and everything we found out there. So from here, on that page, he created a link to come check out his awesome party life. So within there, and as you may see on any kind of day you go and visit Facebook with the hey, check what happened to me at the party, this was the page it went to, again with an iframe that would do the redirects and see who was coming. Sounds good. How many people would click on it? How much traction do you think somebody like this would get? So within the first couple hours, he had 991 friend requests. And as it continued, up to 2,500 friend requests in a very short period of time. So great, friend request, what happens with that? Of course, messages, including a marriage proposal. And the side effect that came from this is, at some point, Facebook said, hey, you need to verify you are who you're way too popular. So from that point, if I was a bad guy, I could have tracked names and profile pictures and been able to answer all those questions. For him, he went ahead and created the results that he needed to create with this and saw how much traction he could get, how quick with having his sweet party life, how quick people were able to click. The other unique side effect was one of his lovely young ladies actually caught one of the other students in the class who saw his friends connecting and was like, oh, I want to meet her too. And he actually, somebody didn't realize that was part of the project, and he actually had gotten another student in the class to send a friend request to his fake person.
You should have seen some of their faces at the final presentations as they're like, oh my God, I friended that. So to kind of go off what Chris was saying, the idea of Facebook profiles, they're not really supposed to generate traffic, high volume traffic that quickly. They're designed for connecting personally with people. So what one team did that was attacking University of Miami, they decided to use Facebook pages. They're built in order to do this. You want to generate likes, you want to generate revenue to your business, you make this Facebook page. What's interesting about this one is that this is not the real Starbucks page. What they did is when you go and you make a page, you go on Facebook right now and you create a page for Starbucks. You type in Starbucks, you press enter. It actually kicks back at you. It's a blacklist. It says, hey, this is a blacklisted brand. We have a verified one of this. You can't create a Facebook page for this. What they found out is that in order to bypass those filters and to avoid Facebook from putting things like unofficial across the name, they just used Unicode, your standard homoglyph attack. I mean, you see blog posts from like 2007, 2008 talking about the importance of it, and it's still an issue. So they went in, they took the S from the Cyrillic alphabet, and they made their Starbucks page, and they started sending out deals. University of Miami Law Library, to student unions, to events, they shot them out. They want to take it a little bit further, though. If you go and look at the pages here, they look identical. They even have verified logos. The one at the top, though, is the fake one. Now, what they did is they photoshopped the verified logo on the cover photo. So think of your standard Facebook user. My mom gets on Facebook, my grandparents do. They're not going to know this is verified. They're not going to pull up the API and the Graph API and be like, oh yeah, totally, it just returned false. This is not legit. They don't care. So they took this page and they went with it. They started posting to the same places Starbucks one did, and they took it over.
So we want to talk a little bit about some of the good defenses as well. How did some of the teams defend our university and do really good with that? So one of the things that we talked about was we used a shortener, whether it was a bit.ly link or anything out there. So one of the teams researched shorteners quite a bit to see how can we catch if somebody's sending something out. And what they found was, in the world of shorteners out there, they're very deterministic, which means every time I go out and put www.badplace.com into a shortener, it always returns the same bit.ly or tiny URL back for that link. So whether I'm creating it or Zach's creating it, it still always returns the same thing. So they looked at that and found, and they went through a whole list of the different shorteners and started, once they found one, putting it in and finding it in all the others. And what they were able to do, and as you can see here on this attack, it didn't matter if they used the Google shortener, the Twitter shorteners, the LinkedIn shorteners, they were then able to find every attempt at that. And you can see here from the attacks or the retweets how the different ones were spread about, and they found them all. And from that, even here, as you see, as they're being retweeted by other students. So what that lets you know too is, once you kind of find something, and this is the attack presentation, you can then bring that information back in your walls and start looking for traffic going to there. So they were able to then pull that out, find all the links to the team, and they actually were so successful, they called a bunch of other teams also. I think this is two. So late to the game. So this is the other one on defense. We let the students use our platform as well to go out and find things out there. But one of the things very interesting is they went out and they built out their defense about, hey, here's who we want to defend, here's who we want to protect. So in this case, Michael Speaks. What ended up happening was there were already living imposters out there for certain people. So the one that's at the Syracuse University, there's another one out there for him at the University of Kentucky. Same amount of traffic, doing very similar things, but also doing things not quite right. Mike Babinski, same idea. Using our platform, they found some of these that were 2, 3 years old that were highly active out there. For some of the ones, 10, 12 different imposters that were out there doing things, sending things across. And even at the high level of a brand, an entire university that's got multiple Twitter handles out there doing 2 totally different things. One's real, one's not. And again, some of these were 3, 4 years old, had thousands, tens of thousands of followers. One of them was actively sending out malware, phishing links, etc., trying to lure people in. So this wasn't a student-created attack. This is an attack that's been sitting out there for quite some time.
So now we're going to get into some takeaways. Specifically, the first one, the most important, morality. So around 3 weeks into the project, we got a hurried email from Dr. Rubin, as you can read right here. He said, hey everyone.
Read it.
Guys, I'm going to read it. Guys, the class is revolting about the project. We were meeting after class 2:45 near my office with a group of students to discuss ways of salvaging this. It's very important. Is there any chance you can come? They revolted on the project. They had an ethical problem with how some of these attack strategies would work, all right? Yeah. So they went out there and they looked at the different ways people were doing stuff like this on social media. We gave them findings of attacks we've seen before, and we said, do what you want with it. We want to see what you can do. And they objected to that. Now, the issue here was that this email was also on the same day a big homework project was due for that class. So we think it was a little combination of good timing and also a little bit of the actual ethical problems behind it. Tactics. Can you guys see that? Awesome. So in terms of tactics, most successful attacks and click-throughs, first one, right off the bat, targeted phishing. Things like social media, Facebook, your Twitters, your Tinders, they allow you to create a very trusted entity and target someone specifically, whether it's a beautiful girl on campus or whether it's your grandma trying to connect with you. If you can build that trust and you can go out and you can recon your target, you can make a profile that they will start to interact with. Next, insider attack. As Chris presented, Facebook insider groups at University of Michigan, about 1,000 clicks, and 1 in every 8 students gave us their personally identifiable information. So their resumes, their names, stuff like that. Next, targeted hashtag attacks. A lot of these students had these botnets where they would go out and they would pick a hashtag, UNC scandal or Syracuse basketball game, and they would have their bots just tweet links at it over and over again. And that also generated some click-throughs. So in terms of infecting a user, as one of the groups shown on Tinder, you just make it as easy as possible to click on a link. Don't introduce a process or anything, just kind of go for it and have them click on that and then have it be done. So that was a lot more successful than his original strategy of the Twitter comedian. In terms of networks, Facebook started out, like I said, the Facebook insider group attacks. If you can get into those closed groups, you can get an email address from somebody, socially engineer it, people will click on that link. In terms of Twitter, so Twitter, apps are not the best botnet approach if you want to go and you create something like this and have the students create it. It's because they actually rate limit a lot with these APIs. So you go on there and it'll say you can only do this many tweets, and they actually have really, really good spam detection. So they'll pick up on the frequency of your tweets, the entropy of it, the times that you posted it, and then they'll block you. So what you want to do is something more small scale, where you can do it through web or just very carefully through the apps. Lastly, Tinder, 75% click rate, kind of speaks for itself, right? Sex sells, it's going to continue to sell, and if you can leverage that with your attack strategy, you're going to get click-throughs.
So one more fun example of a successful group and how they use these findings kind of rolled up into one attack. So everybody loves ice cream, and everybody up at Syracuse loves going to Gannon's ice cream. So that's the popular place. It's where they go get their ice cream. So the basketball game's currently going on right now. And they go ahead and launch an attack that says, if we come back and win this game, discount on ice cream for everybody. So students see this. They're watching the game, 3 screens, multi-screen as the kids do today, and say, great, I see the Twitter that if we win this game, I'm following along, we're going to get some ice cream. So they start sharing it, retweeting it, pushing it around. The student union picks up on it. Various places pick up. They start retweeting it. This starts becoming one of their favorites. It starts getting huge. Students, if this is true, we have to win. We just have to. So really engaging with the kids watching this, having this interaction, and it's timely. So it's happening right now. This isn't fake. They just put this out there. So not only is that, the entire campus is picking up, retweeting this, and really luring more people in with it. So again, just another example across the board of how they used a bunch of these techniques to go out with the timeliness, using Twitter, using things that mean something to the student, and really bringing them in, and to the point that they're sharing it across from official sites on the campus.
And one more interesting observation with that, at least with things like Twitter and following these trending hashtags, it's all about timing too, right? So not only can you just pull down a trending hashtag and post to it and get people to click, but you really need to create something and create a post that people will relate to, like a deal or just some awesome quote that somebody said to get everybody rallied up. It's all about timing. So what was really interesting is seeing all these different approaches of amassing a botnet, but still the students had to get some human element in there to take advantage of social media. So that concludes the briefing. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. It was great having all of you. So just a little bit, shameless plug, Zero Fox, we're up the street in Baltimore. Come check us out. If you want to get in contact with us, you can see our emails here. No! Can you at least see this one? Yeah! And we're also hiring. So if you like this stuff, if you like the idea of this emerging new vector for attacks, and you want to go and explore and find these bad guys, we're hiring. So come talk to us afterwards.
Questions?
I don't think so. I forgot which Syracuse game that was. It was early in the season where we're just terrible. So.
Yep.
So have you seen universities add a security awareness program for kids for students, you say?
So yeah, I mean that's one of the tricks with this is the education process. So he was asking about has campuses then picked up on a way to educate and get people aware of some of this. So it's a tricky scenario right now because you have, as we showed, universities really focused on traditional security and where their budgets are to this whole new area. We actually saw a federal agency roll out training to their employees and found the attack rate shot up because the number of employees were like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. So you got to be careful with that. At the same time, do you have something if you get that data? So all of a sudden, if you see, we rolled out at a university very close to here in a POC. Within a couple hours, they found 3 active botnet infestations within their walls that they didn't know about, including one that was student built. So again, it's something that it's good data to have, but they need to be in a place, and again, universities with budgets and who's doing the security is kind of interesting on how there. So again, with all these universities we did this, we've shared the findings with them, we've shared the findings with all the social networks, we've got really close partnerships with all of them as well. So letting them know, here's what's out there, here's something that we can really help you with. Any other questions? The yoga pants were, the hashtag yoga pants was on that sex sells, and that was how he was getting people to go to his different sites, his parties, hashtag yoga pants. How was that trending? How is he passing that across? And the idea that yoga pants club on that campus. So girls of Michigan State Yoga Pant Club.
Did you guys use it to sell this stuff?
Well, you saw the pretty slides of the pretty ladies. And
I'm going to say that I have some standards. I will use yoga pants, but the pictures he was using, they were illustrious, is the right word, I think. So we didn't want to put it on there. I mean,
anything
come
else?
find me afterwards.
Okay. Well, thank you.